Welcome to the Ultimate Music Teacher's Productivity and Profitability podcast. I'm your host, Glory St. Germain. Tune in to discover how you can unleash your teaching potential and turn your passion for music education into profit. Let's dive in. Welcome, music enthusiasts and educators, to another exciting episode of the Ultimate Music Teacher's Productivity and Profitability podcast. I'm your host, Glory St. Germain, and today we have a very special guest with us, the one and only Drew Kundtz, who has been on a remarkable journey of musicianship and leadership for the past 30 years. His unique approach revolves around dynamic balance between technical skill and creative expression. I've also had the pleasure and privilege to have leadership consulting and executive coaching from Drew. And now, drum roll, please. It's time to dive in to learn how you too can be impacted by Drew's journey. So welcome to the show, Drew.
Hey, thank you so much, Glory. Happy to be here.
I'm so excited. Drew. So can you start by telling us a bit more about your musical journey, how you got started, and what's your passion for merging these technical skills and creative expression to achieve all the greatness that you have discovered?
Thank you. Happy to talk about this. I have had a very unique journey in my musical unfolding ever since I was in middle school and high school. I first started with picking up the tenor saxophone, which I loved and played avidly. I didn't come from a very musical family. I had one uncle who had a musical gene, and that was about it. But I loved playing in the jazz and rock ensemble in high school. One thing that really started to shape my musical journey, however, was some of the physical injuries that I occurred. I was also an athlete growing up and had a bunch of wrist operations and things in high school, and had to drop playing the tenor saxophone and learn to start playing the harmonica, which I actually even learned without even holding it in a rack, like kind of Bob Dylan had, just to be able to play and participate. And so it really got me on that path of kind of how can I still participate? You know, how can I figure this out, essentially? Like, I'm not going to accept just not being able to play. That's ridiculous. And so it kind of like a river had to kind of find an alternate route. Yeah. The second big thing around my musical journey has been the fact that I grew up in the suburbs of New Jersey. Actually, the first part of my life was in Greenwich Village, but so I always had a connection with the city, New York City, and had a great friend in high school who was pretty much a blues prodigy on guitar. And he was a little bit of a mischievous kind of guy, but we snuck into the city quite a bit. And yeah, they don't really card you when you're going to a blues bar in the city. So especially if you walk in with a couple guitar cases and you help the band with their speakers. So that added to my ability to play more with professional musicians, get serious about it, really.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. I love that line. For those of you taking notes, just grab a couple of guitar cases and walk in, and no one is going to stop you.
You want a backstage pass? Just volunteer to carry stuff.
I love that. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that backstage pass. It's cool, Drew. Very cool. So, you mentioned the balance. There's technical skills and there's creative communication as kind of the key aspect of your journey. Can you elaborate a little on how this balance has enabled you to transcend stuckness, as you call it, and what it means to be agile in your musical and professional pursuits?
Absolutely. Yeah. So also when I was in high school, in this very rapidly evolving time in my life, my senior philosophy class, we read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by John Persig, and it talked all about the combination of classical or technical thought and romantic or creative thought, and to combine those two things in order to achieve what he called quality with a capital Q, or also to transcend stuckness. And that really, pun intended, stuck with me and allowed me to really draw upon, both the creative solutions on how to innovate, as well as how to take, whether it's science or tools that have been innovated or research that's online, to be able to figure out how to stay part of the conversation or part of the band. And this became increasingly important to me as I continued to age, and there were times in my life where I was like, okay, I can't play a harmonica all the time because sometimes everybody's eating food, or harmonica is also not really a very versatile instrument. You're limited to one scale. It's mainly blues and rock and folk, and there are times that I'm looking to have another experience, and that kind of steered me into how tuning up my rhythm and getting into drumming and other things like that. I've also been known to customize the ergonomics for my ukulele and guitar, and to try to just figure out ways to still be involved.
Yeah. Well, I've seen you're multi-instrumentalist and seen you on the stage rocking it out, playing drums, which is such a cool connection. And I think in today's, evolving world, there's the coaching and there's the leadership industry, and it's really incorporating various assessments. And, before we hit record, we talked a little bit about assessments like Myers-Briggs and Strengths Finder. Can you share a little bit about, what these assessments are and how do you see these developing, and impacting the music education platform?
Absolutely. I think that's a great question. I really do love assessments, and they've come a really long way over time, especially the ones that are backed by extensive data sets. They ask really qualitative questions that help a person understand how they communicate, how they learn most efficiently, how they deal with resistance or conflict or doubt. And I think that these have, I kind of find myself right now learning about these and wishing that I had that along my musical journey earlier back when I was in high school. And I think one of the forms of application that they have is just being able to first make people aware that there are differences in personality types and learning styles.
Yeah.
That's just that needs to be way more out